We turn now to the flood warnings in our area. It's one thing to say our rivers have been rising, but another thing entirely to have access to a network of cameras that are showing us exactly how far the water and concerns have risen. What you are watching were videos that come courtesy of the United States Geological Survey, and they've been racking up tons of views online this week as several communities brace for flooding. And it turns out those cameras aren't just popular for the public to take a look at. There's real value to what they find, right, Kent?
Yeah, there is, Jana. The USGS has spent years tracking river levels and other factors that are critical to warning communities about what's coming downstream. And now these webcams are helping everyone see things in a new way. Tracking spring river levels in Minnesota is historically pretty cold, wet, and thankless. But that is beginning to shift thanks to a few tech upgrades.
This whole setup is our monitoring station.
Solar-powered cameras added to USGS monitoring stations have given Minnesotans from Marshall up to Sandstone a chance to see this important work in a new way.
It's nice to be able to share a cool thing. Science people sometimes have trouble sharing what we view as cool things that we do.
For example, Ben Torreson has a cool job, you just wouldn't know it from the title.
Supervisory hydrologic technician.
In other words, you're the camera guru?
I wouldn't be the camera guru, but the real camera guru is in Wisconsin, who I learned from.
He helped install a handful of those Wisconsin cameras back in 2017. And thanks to upgraded technology and bandwidth,
this keeps track of how high the water is.
The camera network has expanded faster than a Minnesota river in April.
I wish we had more of them. I wish we had them at pretty much every gauge.
But hydrologist James Fallon says that will take time. The USGS maintains more than 200 gauges in Minnesota and 10,000 nationwide, but only has cameras attached to 16 stations here and 475 nationally.
There's just so much information in that picture that you don't get from looking at a hydrograph. That ice jam might stop up the river.
The cameras generally capture one image per hour, but as waters rise in communities like Hastings, that can be adjusted to stay on top of changing conditions.
It's a very flexible system, so we could take as many or as few camera images as we wanted to.
Every place there's a dot, that's when the camera took a picture.
And this camera near Durand, Minnesota proved especially valuable in the last week.
When you look at this graph, you only know how high the river is. And so we need to know that the river is clear of all its ice and debris.
The images help show the USGS exactly when that ice flowed out this week.
Ice out.
And illustrated how an ill-timed trip could have proven hazardous.
There's a big piece of ice coming down. That's what we don't want to happen while we're there measuring.
And they weren't the only ones who were glad they had eyes on it.
That was really helpful. We're like, ice jam.
Craig Schmidt, senior hydrologist with the National Weather Service Twin Cities, says the cameras have helped better monitor and predict spring flooding this season.
We've been working with the USGS and letting them know how much we really enjoy having these cameras, and the more of those that we can get, the merrier.
Every year we're looking at, well, where can we put cameras? Where do we find it beneficial? The more cameras we get in critical places, I think that's a great public safety tool.
And from my perspective, it's just cool.
Yeah, and it's absolutely cool. Yeah, we're about science for a changing world. We hope that people are interested in the science, but if this is kind of a door to look at a river and see how it responds to rain or to snowmelt and see how ice affects a river, I think that's a good thing.
Now, Ben says they are already planning to expand the camera network even more this summer, focusing mainly on critical points along several rivers here in Minnesota. If you want to see what cameras are currently available, and there are a lot of really interesting images, we've got a link to that with this story on KARE11.com. Jana.
I'm sure you could spend a lot of time looking. It struck me when I was watching this story, Kent, that over the last couple of years, you have really dug into water. You found that wastewater pointed us to detect COVID, and now you're showing us how the cameras can tell us about flooding. So good on you.
Hey, a lot of technology. Send me out on the water, Jan. I'll figure it out, right?
I'm thinking about a canoe. All right, we'll talk after the show. Thanks, Kent.
All right.